Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Welcome to Star Trek Stories. Today, we're just shooting the shit here. A little cash today.
Fucking send it, bruh.
Yeah. But for those of you who are new to the show, I am your host, Jaron Hatch, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Aaron Cole. Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Jaron.
We finished another batch of episodes. We just finished part 3 of our 100 episode list. Anytime we get to the end of one of our little sections, we always just kind of hang out, shoot the shit, talk about what we watched, and also go on tangents on lots of other stuff. Nerd stuff. Yeah, so we just finished our look at the TNG Renaissance, Aaron. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this one was better than the last selection of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was a 10-episode selection comprising episodes from seasons 2, 3, and 4 of Star Trek The Next Generation, mostly season 3. This is that period of time that really sparked the popularity of Golden Age Trek, which is also what we've been covering during this whole stretch of time. Golden Age Trek, for those of you who don't know, is that magical time of period when there was basically Star Trek on the air all the time from 1987 to 2005. And Next Generation is really, really the show that kicked it off. And I mean, that really is the show that the whole Golden Age orbits.
With 3 of the bigger casts on at the same time.
Yeah. 3 of these shows do like 170 episodes each. With big, huge casts. Yeah, there's a lot to cover.
Content.
Yeah, we're still just slowly. The bulk of our episodes, I think a little over 3/4 of the episodes on our list is all from Golden Age Trek because it's just so vast. But there's a reason why they call it Golden Age Trek. Yeah, we just watched the TNG Renaissance. And kind of what we've been looking at in this one is recontextualization. This is kind of when the powers that be were like, hey, we got to get the show on track. And they turned the show from what it was in the early days, which was a pretty rocky, weird, wonky show, to a beloved classic in about like a year and a half. Not too bad as far as recontextually trying to make your show good goes. I guess that's some of what we'll be talking about today is how successful this recontextualization was, and what, now that we've watched these 2 sets of episodes, what is it that makes these ones stand apart from what they were trying to do? In a more general sense, it's like, what really works about what we just watched? And not every episode was a winner. We did watch Menage a Troi during this segment of episodes. They're not all winners. But even said, as a whole, much stronger. What is it about what we see, what we just watched versus what we watched previously?
I think a lot of it comes down to the writing.
I mean, as easy and complex as that. I think you're right, though. I think it is the writing.
It is so complex, but it's like suddenly there was engaging stuff for the actors to dive into. Suddenly there was stories being told that were pulling you emotionally and making you think. Suddenly, it was just a fine line that they had to jump over from okay to really, really good.
Yeah, because when you think about it, it's not like they change. It's not like it's a radically different, completely different show than what they started with. It's more or less like if some noob came in and like just kind of saw the first season and saw the third season, it's like it'd be hard to readily spot the differences. When I think about the first season, like what we watched before this, it all strikes me as being very conceptual. They're really like leaning into that, like this either sci-fi high concept or just some allegorical high concept, but it's like the first episode is perfect, the trial of humanity. It's very like conceptual thing, but not a lot of focus on the characters. It's very just about the idea that's happening. And then this, there's still big concepts they're playing with, but it's like you said, there's a lot more for the characters and actors to like sink their teeth into. It's like, oh, but like, yeah, so humanity's on trial, but so what? What is that? How does that affect me?
They kind of zoomed in, you could say.
Yeah, they zoom in. It's not so general and big picture anymore. They're really seeing how this affects the lives of people, in this case, the crew. And I think it's a much better approach. Not to say you can't do the big high concept on its own merits, but to do that week after week, that gets hard. I mean, that's kind of Twilight Zone, I guess, but
yeah, that's generally different people doing Twilight Zone, right? And like,
also not a recurring cast. It's like literally just a different thing every week.
Wiped. Fresh story, fresh start.
Yeah, after a few seasons, you're like, okay, but what about the peeps if you're sticking with the same people? This is something we kind of stumbled at as we were watching it. We did see, I wonder if particular, like the big switch, I think, for us was when we watched Deja Q, when we saw, because we all were like struck. It's like, compared to what we've been watching, they all feel really comfortable now compared to what we've been watching. And I wonder if that's all, maybe like either as big or number two is just the cast finally feeling comfortable with either each other or what they're doing.
Yeah. I think maybe, I don't know. Yeah, something happened too behind the scenes. I'm sure that's talked about. But some come to Jesus, or maybe they had a good off season and then they got the script for what they were going to coming in to shoot, and the lines they were memorizing made them excited.
I'm going to do something.
Like, oh yeah, this is what I signed up for. This is Star Trek. So the vibe going into that shoot was probably a lot different than the first two seasons.
And I wonder if it is to some degree also, again, part of the writing. It's like, think about when we watched The Enemy with Sean, and a lot of that was Geordi, and then there was also like the Worf stuff, and they didn't get to do anything like that in like the first season. They were mostly just like, glorified exposition readers. Geordi would tell them like how fast they're going. He would tell them what he could see out of his visor. And then Worf would grumble Klingon stuff in the back. I'm a warrior, I'm a Klingon. And that was about all they got to do.
Sure. You can tell Michael Dorn too was not quite comfortable in the Worf role until about season
because they give him something to do.
Yeah. But like even his blocking in the first two seasons, some of the stuff they asked him to do is really awkward. Like hopping over the bridge consoles and stuff.
Leaping over the wooden railing.
Like, oh yeah, that was really Klingon. Good job.
Yeah, and then they put Geordi in like command and engineering, and Worf is security, and and there are stories about their like Geordi is stuck on a planet with a Romulan, and he has to figure out, how do I make it work? And then Worf has to face like his prejudice with the Romulan, and then fails. So I wonder if like the cast kind of loosening up. It's like the cast also reacting. It's like, I'm getting scripts. I don't just have to say Warp 5, Captain.
And then, yeah, I'm sure a lot of that stress too is coming from the top down as well, from Roddenberry. Unfortunately, like him saying no to stuff, him rewriting stuff, him consulting. I'm sure on set.
Yeah, we have to talk about Gene Roddenberry real quick.
Oh, Gene! I just imagine him, old Gene, just breathing down everybody's neck. You have Show, and then there's Gene. You just, no, doesn't work. You can't do that. They're perfect humans.
Just this sweaty alcoholic, just leering over you. Are you putting tits in that one?
Gene, it's a family show. The things you approve and the things you deny are just what is going on in your brain.
Here again, bringing up Menage a Trois. This, I think, of all the episodes we watched, that was the one that Gene Roddenberry had the most influence on, and it's by far the worst episode that we watched in our. As I've been editing, I was like, these are all good episodes, except for this one.
Come on, Gene.
I can't hate the guy. He created the show. He's kind of like George Lucas in that, like, he's an idea guy, but it's like, but keep him away from making the goddamn thing. We saw what happened with those Star Wars prequels.
I mean, at least we haven't heard any, like, truly terrible things about George Lucas, at least not yet.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry has a much worse track record than George Lucas. I mean, there are stories of people walking in. This is going more to the 60s stuff. People walking in. Like, this is when, like, Gene Roddenberry was sleeping with Majel Barrett before they were married. He was still married, was to someone else at the time. The whole reason why she was on the show is because she was his mistress. Gene was always trying to get the costumes for the ladies a little skimpier. And then suddenly you walk into Gene Roddenberry's office and you see Nichelle Nichols giving Gene Roddenberry a blowjob on the table. And it's like,
I did not have sexual relations.
Yeah. And I wish I was exaggerating these stories, but this is according to Peeps, according to Nichelle Nichols. It's like, oh my God. We haven't heard a lot of that stuff from George, so kudos to you, George Lucas. He seems like actually a pretty good family guy. He just has questionable, on-the-ground creative decisions.
I mean, who knows what goes on at Skywalker Ranch?
Skinwalker Ranch, Skywalker Ranch, it's all the same. It's all the same thing.
I don't want to get canceled. I'm sure it's all above board with the cows and chickens and horses.
Oh, poor... You know what's so funny? I don't know how much you keep tabs on modern day Star Trek fandom. How tuned into it you are. The YouTube scene, the Reddit scene.
Not
any
really
of that stuff
at all. I catch glimpses of it on Twitter sometimes. That's about it.
Yeah. There is a camp of people. Some of them are part of the quote-unquote fandom menace. The people who are constantly like, wokeness is destroying Hollywood.
Oh yeah, these guys.
Wokeness is destroying Star Trek. Wokeness is, it's so, whatever,
I have certainly encountered
that
on Reddit over the years.
Yeah. It's pretty rampant. And I look at this stuff because I want to see. I look at all of the discourse as far as I can see it, and so I see all the. It's not exactly this. The far right, the far left, everything in between in terms of the Star Trek discourse. I look at it all, and also generally speaking, as far as I can. It's so interesting to see. There's this narrative being spun. And people are out there. People out there just like, oh my God, Gene Roddenberry would be spinning in his grave if he could see this. And I'm just like, you do realize Gene Roddenberry, like, while he had some good ideas, he created Star Trek. He was one of the worst creative forces behind Star Trek. It was basically everyone but Gene that was making that show a success. And he was actively holding the show back. And when I hear this stuff about, like, it's all too woke, I'm like, you do realize that Gene Roddenberry's whole thing was your woke stuff. But now I hear those same people praising Gene Roddenberry, that he would hate Star Trek for all the woke crap. I'm like, you idiot. That is exactly what he would like it for. Nowadays, if Gene Roddenberry was in charge, he would be all about this shit. He'd be spinning in his grave if he could see it. Oh my! It is so weird. It's like clearly you don't know anything about this guy. Like, It's nonsense.
Or they do, and they're idealizing the wrong person.
Yeah. Because heaven forbid anyone actually recognize DC Fontana for being one of the big creative forces behind Star Trek.
What would DC Fontana think about?
Ooh. You know, if I'm honest, I don't think she'd be super crazy about it.
Yeah. But for different reasons. I don't think Gene would be crazy about it either. I think he would like some things about it, but...
The woke stuff, in quotes, which I put in quotes, which is pretty vague, he would like that.
Yeah.
He wouldn't like the conflict that we see in Star Trek.
It sort of feels like if Gene was in charge of New Trek a little bit, like because of the stale-ish storytelling, like you have all these woke elements, right? Like progressive storytelling, progressive characters, but it's like it's not engaging like Star Trek or Star Trek The Next Generation Season 3 was when Gene let go of the reins, you know?
The show blooms. Yeah.
Like it's about the things and the events. It's not about the people so much, even though they've made it seem like it's going to be about the people, making them so diverse and I don't know. That's where it falls short. It's like you're not giving them actual character work to think about. You're just like, you are this thing. You are the gay character. You are the Latino character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Before we move on, any last final thoughts on like what makes this era, what we just watched, not just noticeably, hugely improved off of what we came off of?
It's just general sense of joy from each episode, even the heavy ones.
You know, I like that.
Yeah.
Joy is huge in storytelling. Even if it's a hard story, you should be getting joy from the experience.
Yeah.
Any favorite episodes in what we just watched, Mr. Cole?
Any faves?
What stands out to you? It doesn't necessarily have to be a favorite. And it can either be the episode we watched or our conversations around them.
Our Jake and Mindy episodes were such fun.
Deja Q and Captain's Holiday.
All of them.
I've had a lot of fun editing those. It's been fun.
Ellen's so fucking funny. It's always great to have Aaron on the show too. They are very smart.
Yep.
Very clever.
We had a lot of good. We had a good solid. Every episode I've been editing and just listening to the conversations, I'm like, we got some good people to talk. Lots of recurring people this time around. Lots of Jake, Mindy, lots of Ellen, lots of Aaron. Jake came back. Then Austin came. Like I'm listening. I've been listening to them all as we edit. I'm like, we had lots of good, and I've had to edit these down. And that's been tricky. I'm like, what do I cut? We talk about lots of good stuff in this.
That's the thing. Overall, I feel like we've had a lot of good conversations in each of these episodes with everybody. And we haven't had this season, I don't think, maybe listening, I'll think again. But I don't think we've had a lunker or a weak episode this season for the podcast. I feel like they've all been very strong.
I mean, there's Menage a Troy.
But even that for the show, like...
But
Star Trek wise, like
yeah,
sure, bad episode, not the greatest, but our as far as our show goes, it gave us a lot to talk about, and we had a lot of fun.
We did.
Yeah. So for our show, it was a very good episode.
Yeah.
Not to brag. That's just how I feel on the inside.
Yeah, we had lots of good conversations the last go around. I think you and I talked about it's like we actually got a lot out of this. But as I'm listening to this batch, I'm like, just because the episodes themselves are so good, and they don't always have to be good to get good conversations. Some of our best episodes, I think, have been like, this wasn't that great. But because these episodes have just been of such a good, like the actors on the show, there's stuff for us to sink our teeth into. And I feel like in the first... when we were watching the first go around of Next Gen, there was a lot of like, okay, this is a silly episode, but what can we find that's good from it? This time around, I feel like we're like this was really interesting. And it gave us stuff to like think about and talk about. Like the show, like the episode, like Star Trek, but then just some of the stuff they were trying to tackle. I've been listening to some of the episodes, and I'm like, a lot of what we're talking about is like what they bring up in the episode rather than the episode itself, which I think is like, yeah, that's what you want to be talking about. What it spurs you to talk about rather than like, what the hell was this? Let's talk about where they failed, where they got it right. Like, it's much more interesting. Okay. I don't think we're a review show, but I would love to hear your thoughts. I've tried to avoid this, and now I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, reviews are only so interesting, especially if you're trying to score something. For me, the great success of a story is when I don't even think about the craft behind it. I am almost laser focused. And I can't remember who said this. Maybe this is actually Nicholas Meyer, the director of Star Trek II. The midnight refrigerator moments. You're having a hard time sleeping. I'm just going to go to the fridge real quick, either get a snack, get something to drink, whatever. I'm going to go back to bed and fall asleep. And you open the fridge. And earlier that day, you had seen something. And I think in this case I think he's talking about Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. And I think he brought this up because like the studio, in case you don't know, Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home is the one with the whales. And there's an alien probe coming to talk to the whales on Earth. And in the climax, there is this kind of communication between the probe and the whales.
What have you done with our whales?
There's no subtitles for any of this. And when the studio was first screening the film, they're like, put subtitles. The audience should hear what they're talking about. And Nicholas Meyer worked on the script for Star Trek IV. And they were just like, no. No. It needs to be a mystery. No matter what we come up with for the subtitles, if we give a reason to why the alien probe is visiting the whales, no matter what we come up with, people are like, whatever. But if we never figure it out, then it's easy to be like, we don't know why. Something beyond our comprehension was happening here. And they're like, and they refused. They're like, no, we're not going to do this. And so in behind the scenes, part of the interview was like, why did you say no? And Nicholas Meyer was like, and then he started bringing up this going to the fridge late at night. He's like, this is more interesting. And it's this idea of continuing the experience after the experience is over. You open the fridge late at night. You just seen this movie earlier in the day. You're having trouble sleeping. You wake up in the middle of the night. You go to the fridge. You open it. Look for a snack. Before you go back to bed, you're like, you look up. What did those whales want anyway?
What were they trying to say?
What were they like? Fridge. It's this idea of like, what was that? Why did they want that? And this it's a long-winded way of saying this idea of it's not even necessarily the text or the thing itself. It's what it makes you think about afterward. I think we got a lot of that in this.
That might be closer to what a definition of art is or could be than
the self-reflection
than anything. What it makes you think about in any kind of art, you know. The self-expression is there, of course, but it's like the why. Why are they doing any of it? You know, maybe they don't even realize it, but it's for us as much as it is for them. All of it. And like what they think they're striving for and trying to achieve might not be anything in the concept of somebody's mind that's watching it. They're getting something entirely different out of that experience. I think that's what art is. It inspires other minds to think about things they'd never thought about before.
Oh. Yeah, that's fun. And when you bring up this question of why, it's like there's two things going on as far as I can see. If you're getting something really good out of it, why did the author or the creators do this? But part of that same question leads into your own personal question. As you try to answer, why do they do this? Why did it like? But then it starts to bring up this like, why did I go see this? What does this mean to me?
Entire nations have been built on the idea. Ford and Jeterson.
Yes.
Do you want the entire nations?
Well, it's like, what does that even mean? When you say is, what does that mean? And here's why I hate postmodernists, because they ask the very same questions that I am. But, I'm just like, but I'm asking it for a better reason, because we have these, preconceived priority structures, and they're just like, well, it doesn't mean anything. I'm like, well, of course it does. But when I ask the question, it's different than when they're Kermit the Frog, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that one.
Jesus Christ. Jordan Peterson.
I was just asking, what's your favorite flavor ice cream?
Lex Friedman. No. Well, it depends. What do you mean ice cream?
Entire nations.
Entire nations.
Oh, man. Yeah, where my mind went when we were talking about Star Trek just now.
This period of the show that we just watched is generally considered to be one of the best eras of the show, if not the best, if you ask some people. That being said, if this were being made nowadays, do these episodes hold up in the same way today? Could you make the exact same episodes nowadays, different technology, whatever, and be like, yeah, this is still... Is there anything dated about this? Or do these stories still basically play as is today?
Stories, no. I think you'd have to change very little about the actual language they use. Of course, sets and costumes and stuff would be updated, and special effects, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the core, I don't think you'd have to change much at all.
Mm. And then a second question, because we have talked about if you're going to start someone on Next Generation, maybe you can watch a couple from the first 2 seasons, just to help fill you in. Otherwise, start in season 3, which is more or less what we watched. Is this where you start a newbie on Star Trek?
I think it's a good idea.
Mm.
Yeah. If they like that, then be like, okay, fine, you can watch First Contact now.
Okay. Okay, we'll watch one. Yeah.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, is this still a good place to start? More or less? Okay.
I could drink more of that.
Yeah, I can't disagree. It's like, especially like Sean's first episode of Star Trek was The Enemy. And he was like, this was still really good. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a lot of context and a lot of details and blah, blah, blah. But he's like, I came in and I still got it and I thought it was great. And he's like, I would love to watch more. Yeah, maybe this still works.
That's the goal.
Still works. All right. Well, thank you, everyone who's been listening along with us, enjoying the TNG Renaissance. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I had a blast. I can revisit episodes from this era and never get sick of it. I'm like, it's a very exciting time for Star Trek, I think. It's like, at this point, I think the possibilities feel endless for the show and what Star Trek can do. So, kudos.
And without it, I don't think we would have had any of what came after.
No,
not at all.
No. Yeah, this was the make or break moment. It's like, if they did not rally and make the show what it was, I don't think the show as it was in the first season could have continued for 7 seasons.
Maybe years later we could have gotten a movie again, but it wouldn't have been like a J.J. Abrams level. classic.
Shout out to Michael Piller. He's the one who really got the show on track, the head writer in season 3, and a lot of what we have to thank for is because of him. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
May you rest in peace.
Oh, man.
Well, you know, speaking of, I don't know, a renaissance, speaking of things that really took us into a whole new era, we have another nerd movie coming on the horizon, Aaron.
The Renaissance.
The Renaissance.
Yeah. Taking it up a notch. Maybe taking it in a different direction.
Different direction. Not just better, but different and better. We got another Star Trek palate cleanser coming up. For any of you new to the show, in between our little episode selections, we do nerd movies. To kind of wipe the slate clean, we talk about something completely different, non-Star Trek related, and then we'll go back into more Star Trek. And that's what we have coming up next week. Nerd Movies 3. You know, Aaron, I really love doing these. These are, especially as like, let's just do something different.
Yeah. You can always kind of tell in the season when we're itching to do another nerd movie because we start talking about other things in the episodes besides Star Trek.
Yeah.
What we came here to do.
You start getting wistful.
Yeah.
But what else?
C'est Wanderlust.
But, you know, very much in the spirit of Star Trek, exploration. We aren't just limited to Star Trek. Star Trek is, as much as I love it, is not the end all be all. And it's fun to tackle other things as we look at Star Trek. I think it just makes our Star Trek commentary better, if I'm honest.
Makes the show better.
Yeah. So yes, next week we have Nerd Movies 3 coming up. Last time we did a Nerd Movies, on Nerd Movies 2, we watched The Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman. Yeah, we watched The Batman. That was our first superhero movie.
Something in the way.
I think we were generally positive on that movie.
Generally?
Jenny did not like it.
No.
No.
She had some good points.
Yeah, I think I was. I wasn't negative on the film, but I think, yeah, I think for me that's like smack dab in the middle of my Batman. I don't like there are things I really liked about it, and there were things I didn't really like about it. I mean, I'll take that over the Schumacher films.
Yeah, still, yeah.
I think I would take that over The Dark Knight Rises too.
Yeah, certainly.
I don't think I would take it over the other two Christopher Nolan films. And I might put it on par with the first Tim Burton film. Like 89 Batman and Matt Reeves the Batman, I think more or less would be in the same place. And I think I would actually rate Batman Returns better. I really like Batman Returns.
It's such a wild movie.
And it is wild. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
It's so wild. It's also not 3 hours long.
Appreciates that about that movie.
So yeah, so far we've tackled more space stuff with Star Wars. We've tackled superhero stuff with Batman. This time around, we're going back in time again. We're going to be looking at one of the movies that changed cinema forever. So I guess also on a par with Star Wars. Star Wars is definitely one of those movies. We are also going to be looking at specifically the summer blockbuster. I don't know if you would exactly call this a genre, but it's definitely a type of nerd movie. The summer blockbuster. A nerd movie for nerds of movies. And summer blockbusters have been a cinematic force now for decades. So yeah, this might be an interesting time to revisit where the summer blockbuster started, because that has not always been a thing in moviedom. Yeah, so we are going to be looking at, quote unquote, the first summer blockbuster in Nerd Movies 3.
The jazz singer.
The Neil Diamond jazz. No, that is not what we're watching.
Oh,
thank God. We are going to be watching 1975's Jaws. Jaws. We're going to be watching Jaws on Nerd Movies 3. When was the last time you watched this? You've seen this before, right?
once or twice.
Yeah.
Many times as a kid, never all the way through growing up because it scared the crap out of me. I had to wait until I was like older to jump in and watch some Jaws.
Yeah.
I should have watched it when it scared the crap out of me, because when I watched it later, it was corny. And the shark was goofy, and I was like, oh, this is nothing. What was I so scared about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Silly goose. Well, yeah, I've watched Jaws.
But been a second for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think for me, it was when... Do you remember back in Boy's House, The Next Generation, when Andrew and I did that Steven Spielberg-a-thon?
Not specifically, no.
I know there was a lot of people dropping in and out, but Andrew and I specifically started with Duel, his made-for-TV movie, and watched through everything he'd released up to that point, which at the time was Lincoln. So I think the last time I watched it was during that Spielberg-a-thon, which would have been like 2012, 2011. No, yeah, 2012, 2013 is when that would have been. I love Jaws. It's been a second since I've seen it. I don't watch it all the time, but every time I sit down and watch it, I have such a blast with it. I think it's really good. But who knows? Maybe I'll have different thoughts this time.
Yeah, I'm hoping that for me. I'm thinking this will be the time I sit down and watch it and really learn to appreciate it. Make it more memorable for myself.
In terms of nerd movies, Steven Spielberg is a brand of nerd movie in his own right.
Yeah. Steven Spielberg is a genre.
Kind of. He's so prolific and so specific. He could almost be... It's like Star Trek is it's almost like
he has such a catalog too, right?
Yes. And especially for the film nerds. Spielberg is,
the Spielberg-Kubrick age and rivalry.
Yes.
Yeah. Studied for centuries, I'm sure, as long as the world doesn't end.
Yeah, and I think that'll be something we can look at too. I don't know if you've heard this term before. That Spielberg magic. That'll be interesting to look at in this movie. It's like, what is the Spielberg magic, and how has that made its own little like subgenre of nerd movie? Like literally Spielberg movies. I'd be curious to see if we can come up with any thoughts on what the magic is. Also, Jaws is more or less a horror movie.
Yeah, which we haven't really done yet.
No. If you're looking at speculative fiction, there are three big tiers in the triangle. Sci-fi, which I think we've probably covered before.
I think we've dipped our toe in that water.
The other one being fantasy. I would argue Star Wars is fantasy.
Yeah. Star Wars. Some Star Wars fans would take offense to that.
I am.
But I would agree with you.
I think it's set in space, but it follows all of the trappings of fantasy.
Space magic.
Yeah.
You and I always talk about it from like a purist standpoint, just the original trilogy.
Yeah, it's fantasy.
It's a fantasy space opera.
Hero's Journey.
Even the prequels too.
Yeah.
Very magical.
Very magical, very fantasy. And tier 3, the other third pillar of speculative fiction is horror or monster movies.
My least favorite of the fictions.
I would agree. For me, it's down near the bottom, though I will say in in my estimation, when it's done well, I love it. I just don't think it's often done well. It's a lot of jump scares and terrible plots and
yes, but that's become a thing that you can do well too. So that's what Mark has helped me learn to appreciate the art of the.
You're talking about Evil Dead.
A little bit, and movies like Evil Dead, the art of the bad horror movie, the campy horror movie. There's something about
fair.
that.
That's fair.
There's something to be appreciated.
But there's a lot of just like, this isn't so bad it's good. It's just bad.
Yeah, it's so bad it's bad.
Horror movies out there. There's always a rush. I guess I'm always looking for the deeper meanings to things. Jaws is a horror movie. So this is the last of the 3 big speculative fiction. We're going to need a bigger boat. There are others, of course. The Superhero is also a genre of speculative fiction. It lives somewhere between like sci-fi and fantasy.
How are we going to tackle historical fiction?
There's historical fiction on there.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of it's in the form of war films.
Yeah. So probably one of those, because war films look great in 4K.
Yeah, look at that blood.
Oh, my God. Look at the bullets tear through that guy. Looks so real.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see do our first little look at horror. Spielberg horror summer blockbuster. Like, Jaws is definitely a nerd movie. And if you're like, those are 3 subcategories of nerd movie. And
to go back and watch it now too, especially you nerd. When you're watching Jaws, you dork.
Because Jaws is still great. Yeah, so we're going to have, as always, for these films, we have 3 guest hosts coming on with us. We've got a lot of fun peeps showing up. First off, for our newbie.
Never seen it.
Never seen it.
Never seen a lot of things. I'm working on that slowly.
Oh, yeah. You know this person.
I'm aware of this person.
You're aware of this person.
My wife. Cass is coming back.
Cass Cole is coming back on the show, everyone. Cass has never seen Jaws.
No. When we were talking about it, I was like, let me ask Cass for a newbie, because I'm almost positive she's never seen it. Yeah. I was right.
So Cass is someone who hasn't seen a lot of stuff.
Just can't sit down and focus on movies.
They're not a movie person.
No. Another thing, like, love certain movies. Nostalgic about certain movies. Knight's Tale comes to mind.
God, I haven't seen that for fucking years.
Oh my God, I love that movie. She introduced me to that movie.
Heath Ledger?
Yeah.
No.
I remember we were on a date, I think. A Netflix and chill. But more Netflix. Mm-hmm. We were actually going to sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah.
Just like Knight's Tale. I was like, I've never seen it. And the look she gave me, it's like so disappointed and heartbroken. And like, I might actually have to break up with this person tonight because he's never seen A Knight's Tale.
We will rock you.
She texted her dad. She's like, Aaron's never seen Knight's Tale. And the first thing he said was break up with him.
We're married now, folks.
And we're married now. Happily married. Going on 4 years.
You know, that's always so fun, though, is always getting to introduce someone to the thing.
That's a big part of why I love movies. And why I've shown her a lot of those movies. And I'm so happy she hasn't seen a lot of them, because I get to watch her watch a lot of things for the first time.
Well, hell yeah. I always love introducing friends to new movies, so that'll be a lot of fun. We also have a couple of people we're going to be bringing on who have seen this movie, though not in a good long while. So a couple of people who have seen it, but will have relatively fresh perspectives. Returning to the show, we will be having my brother Tanner Hatch. Tanner hasn't been on since way back when we first started. He's the last of our original slew of guests that hasn't been on a second time. So Tanner will be making his long-awaited return to the show. And then we will be having a brand new friend coming on to watch it with us as well. So a couple of returning friends and a new one. Should be a lot of fun. All sitting together and watching this silly monster shark movie. Sharks are actually deeply misunderstood creatures, so
True.
I'm sure we'll get into it when we talk about Jaws.
I did have a terrible nightmare about sharks the other night after I heard a interview about them, a thing on NPR about the deeply misunderstood sharks, and then one came after me in my dreams. Foxers.
This is what you get for misunderstanding me. All right. Well, next week, Nerd Movies 3, Jaws. We'll get into it with the sharks.
The deeply misunderstood tiger
Deeply
shark.
misunderstood. I'm looking actually forward to it.
Social and curious creatures.
Though I will be coming at it with a new lens this time around, so I'm sure that's going to give us some perspective to think about. Jaws looks a lot different when you're vegan.
Oh. It's a circle of life.
Mufasa, Lion King, the prequel, in theaters 2024. Be there, be square.
Is that really happening?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes. The story about Hamlet's dad that nobody wanted.
Jesus Christ. There's no hope left.
And that's it, folks. End it all. Good night.
Thanks for listening. If you'd like to share us your own Star Trek story, you can email us at storiedstartrek@gmail.com, or you can visit our Discord server. You can find us by clicking on the link in the show description.